try to.
Talk about running routes. How do you think you guys did the first time out?
Decent. I tell our guys all the time, it's, whether you win or lose, it's never as good as it seems, and it's never as bad as it seems. So obviously there was some good for a first game that you can coach off of, and some bad that you can coach off of too. So, we try to keep them level-headed, praise them when they do good, try to coach them when they do bad, but a pretty good mix. Overall, I thought we caught the ball well, but got to block a lot better. Obviously, we ran the ball a pretty good bit and threw some screens, but we got to be able to block and execute when the ball's not coming to us.
And from what we saw, there was some good blocking out there too. So that is that a reflection of how much you're asking them to get better at blocking? Sure,
yeah, and I've explained it before, but I asked those guys just to be really good teammates. When the ball's not coming to them, obviously we're going to throw it a lot, so they're going to get a lot of opportunities to catch it. But when the ball's not coming to them, how good of a teammate you are when you block correctly and show some effort and care about your teammates when somebody else has got it. I appreciate when they do good, and I'm pretty harsh on them when they don't do it. So I expect a lot out of that aspect.
Leach has talked in the past about how you can never have too much depth at receiver. I think wide receivers alone, you had 8 or 9 guys get some catches there. I think 12 players overall got catches. Is that kind of what he's looking for?
Yeah. If you can roll 12 guys in there that can effectively run routes, get open, catch footballs, I think that's a pretty unique dynamic that not a lot of teams in the country have. And obviously that has a lot to do with our offense and how we stack our roster. But feel pretty good about where we're at the position. But we're never satisfied, and we want to keep it as competitive as can be. So it's constant competition in practice about who can go out there and play and start. And but yeah, it's impressive that 12 guys can catch at least one pass in a game, and we're looking for more.
What's it like to have guys like Ducking and Rufus? They've had their roles elevated, and right away in game one, it didn't seem to bother them, or they didn't feel any pressure. It looked like.
No, I'm excited for those guys. Those two specifically been in the offense for 3 years, and just a gradual kind of what we're talking about day after day. Showed up to practice and got better, and probably both of those guys playing probably their best football right now. And we hope it continues. They're going to get more opportunities, and we can see in practice just how comfortable they're getting within the offense, and hopefully the ball finds them just as much as it did the other day.
As a receivers coach yourself, what have you seen, if anything, from Jacob Cowling in Arizona, and what do you think of him?
Good player, really good player, really explosive. Obviously, what they did the other day, moving him around a bunch, moving him, motion him, running a bunch of routes, even in the screen game. I think they're finding ways to get him the football, and it's good on their part because he's an explosive player. So from the offensive perspective, I don't get to watch a ton of the other team's offense, but just a little I saw, obviously he can create some mismatches, and we got to be good on him for sure.
Were you there when Leach was recruiting and going after Jaden DeLaura a bit?
I was, yeah. So I was part of the staff that signed Jaden when we were there and recruiting him, and I remember being in some of those meetings when we were talking about taking him as a QB and just the recruiting process of how he committed, and I think he was an early signee right before we left and came here. So got a lot of respect for Jaden. Really, really good high school player at a pretty prestigious high school in Hawaii, and they put up some big numbers. And then obviously coming in as a freshman at Washington State and doing what he did, and his his debut at Arizona last week, doing some really good things. So got a lot of respect for him. Love his game. We're going to have to be really, really sound defensively and play a good game against him.
What do you think about Arizona's defense?
New faces. I think it's a mix. There's about 4 transfers that they got from other places that have played a lot of football, and then 7 returning starters. So I would say that's a pretty good mix of kind of what you want. Guys that have played a lot of football, plus you add some transfers that can play and can come in and immediately help you. And I got a lot of respect for those coaches over there, defensively especially. And that first game just shows kind of where they're at as a group, playing hard. And we gotta do what we do offensively, but we can't take them lightly because they've gotten better. There's no doubt about that.
Is it harder at this point of the season to kind of watch film on Arizona? Because I think San Diego State only threw it like 16 times against them, so you don't have a lot of pass defense there to base it off of, right?
No, you don't, and you got to kind of go off of probably where some of those coaches have been in the past and kind of what influences they may have on how they're going to call the defense. So we've looked at some previous teams and some previous games, but obviously with what we do offensively, we know there's just some obvious scouting you got to do, and especially with, you know, just seeing some body types and how those guys move around in the first game. But we just got to do what we got to do and be precise in running our routes and blocking and throwing the football and all that good stuff. It doesn't change a ton of, you know, what we're going to do. We just got to do what we do at a high level.
For those of us who haven't been out there, can you describe the difference in playing a day game in Arizona as opposed to a night game like this is going to be?
Man, I'm not a huge night game fan, really, to be honest with you, and especially when we were in the Pac-12, it seemed like every week we were playing like the second to last game of the night. It was us and then like Hawaii like 4 hours later. So it can be, you know, it's good because you can kind of wake them up a little later, and then they've got some time to, you know, kind of sit and think and go over the game plan some more. But you know, you just gotta. It doesn't change how you prepare. You just gotta wait a little longer.
But it'll be cooler at night out there.
It will be, yeah. It'll be cooler, but those fans out there in Tucson, they'll have it rocking, and they'll have a pretty raucous atmosphere. So our guys are excited, and it'll just take a little longer than they're used to get ready to play. So.
Thanks, Drew.
All right, thank you.